What's going on, folks? Ike here with another fragrance comparison. It's not just a review, it's actually a review / comparison. Today I'm going to compare the most hyped fragrance of the decade, released in 2010. This is Creed Aventus. I'm going to review this. I'm also going to compare it with a bunch of very popular clones of Aventus. Here's the lineup here. Right here I've got Creed Aventus. Avalom, which is the cheapest of the lot. It's at Walmart for 12 bucks. Perfumer's Choice Victor number 9. Club de Nuit Intense Male, the old version. Club de Nuit Intense Male, the newer version. Rayan Tradition Insurrection Pure 2. Al-Haramain L'Aventure. That's the lineup we got here. I know it's silly, but this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to compare Aventus to the clones by spraying Aventus on my wrist. Then I'm going to spray Insurrection Pure 2 on my forearm. On the bottom of the forearm, on the elbow. Over here, I'm going to spray them on my arms and over here throughout the day, and some time and see how it compares to Aventus. So I got to make sure I follow this chart right. All right. So first off, we've got the real deal Creed Aventus. And then we have Insurrection Pure 2, which is on forearm here. I'll try to equal amounts. Let's raise roll this. Hold formation. Okay, you got it. So on the chart, the cheapest of the bunch, Avalom, is right here. That's Avalom. Okay. On this wrist, again, Aventus. Nice sprayer. You got Aventus on the wrist. Avalom L'Aventure is on the forearm, on the inside. Equal amounts, equal. Perfumer's Choice Victor number 9 is on the top of the forearm, up here. This is a pressurized spray, by the way. I'm going to shut off the camera, I'm going to go through my day, and I'm going to be smelling. What's going on, folks? It's Ike, I'm back again. Here to give you my summary. Aventus was released in 2010. It's almost 2020 now, so it's been about 10 years, and it is by far the most hyped fragrance of the last decade. To be honest with you, I'll put it out there right now that I'm not a fan of it. But I do realize that a lot of people do love it. A lot of people wear it. A lot of people swear by it. When it first came out in 2010 and hype started building on it, everybody was talking about how it's the greatest fragrance ever made. People are saying it's the greatest of all time. It's the King Aventus. Everything. It's just an awesome fragrance. And I did not smell that. I can't really smell the magic. I never did. I've never really bought Aventus. My experiences with it was I bought a clone from Al-Rehab called Avenue, and I wore that and I was like, wow, this smells really human-like and cat pissy, and it was a really awkward smell, and I felt it was kind of cloying, and I kind of just wrote it off that it was just a bad clone of Aventus, that Al-Rehab Avenue. I thought it was just a bad clone, and I got a bad batch of that oil. So I went to the mall and I tried the Aventus there, and I still got that same sour cat piss kind of note that was really off-putting for me. So I was never a big fan of Aventus. Back in the day when the Aventus came out and there weren't too many clones of it, there was an air of exclusivity. It was kind of like an elitist attitude where, you have a $400 cologne and everybody was assuming it was great. Maybe putting it up on a pedestal because of the price, because there's a big price bias when it comes to fragrances. If Aventus came out as Nautica Aventus, I don't think anybody would have even looked at it twice. Or if Aventus came out as a celebrity scent, if it was Michael Jordan Aventus, I don't think anybody would have jumped on it. What Aventus had going for it, it was very expensive, it smelled unique, it projected status because of its price. So everybody jumped on it, started hyping it and saying how great it is. But in my opinion, it's not that great of a cologne. I would say it's a fair cologne. I would say it's kind of good. It's just not my style. I don't like the way it smells. I think it's just a fruity, masculine cologne, similar to the vibe of a Abercrombie and Fitch Fierce. Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce actually I think did a better job of it. It actually smells better to my nose than Aventus does. But that's just an opinion. That's my opinion. Everybody has an opinion. I smell it everywhere now. You smell it when you go out. The person serving you your salad smells like Aventus. The valet parker that just parked your car, you get into your car and you're like, wow, that valet parker was wearing Aventus. Your Uber driver is wearing Aventus. Your plumber is wearing Aventus. Everybody out there is wearing some form of Aventus cologne. Now that it's accessible, now that the scent is accessible to everybody and it's not so special anymore, is it still a great fragrance? Me personally, I never liked it. It kind of reminds me of a short story that they used to make you read in first grade. It was called The Emperor's New Clothes by Hans Christian Andersen. It's about a king who likes to get dressed up really nice, right? And there was a couple con artists that came up to the king and said, hey, look, we can weave you a magic cloth and make you a suit out of this magic cloth. It's so special that only smart people and intelligent people can see this cloth. And we're gonna weave you this cloth and make you a suit out of it. Well, I'm paraphrasing the story, obviously, but the king is like, yeah, that sounds great. Weave me a suit with this magic cloth that only smart, intelligent people can see and stupid people can't see it. It's invisible to them. So these con artists, they kind of fake making a cloth and fake making a suit, and they're doing all these motions. The king says, hey, you know, I want to wear this special suit in the next parade. And all the king's helpers and all the king's assistants and the king's men and all the people around him were so afraid to say they couldn't see it. And when asked about it, everybody kept saying it's amazing and it's beautiful and it's awesome. The king himself couldn't see the cloth. And he was worried about what people would think if he couldn't see it. It would make him look stupid and unfit to be the emperor. Anyway, so the parade comes and the emperor is walking through the streets naked, and everybody around them are just walking along with him and just kind of going along with the charade until like a little kid screams out and says, hey, why is the king naked? And then everybody eventually realized that the king had no clothes on. He was naked. The moral of the story is that's what's similar with all this hype that's created with products like Aventus and what happens on the internet. It's such a special cologne, and it's only for the elite. The Emperor's New Clothes kind of sums up what I think of Aventus. These are the notes that I pick up. I get pineapple, lemon, cat piss, cumin, root beer, leather, vanilla, whale puke, and like an ashtray with like cheap cigarette ashes in it. And that's what I get from all of these clones also, but there's certain notes are more pronounced in certain clones than others. The first one I want to go over is Insurrection Pure 2. It smells a lot like Aventus, but it's weaker smelling than Aventus. Next up, the Club de Nuit Intense Man 1 with the silver cap. The first version is much stronger than Aventus actually, and it's got a dirtier, more cat pissy smell to it. The next one is the cheapest, the $12 one. It's right here. The Avalom. It's the worst balanced smelling one. It's got really strong cat pissy cumin vibe to it. The cat pissy vibe kind of really pokes out a lot. The pineapple disappears very quickly on it, but the overall performance, it hangs around for a while. Actually, it's not a bad performer. It's called Avalom by Rish. That was the worst out of all these clones. As far as smelling like Aventus, it doesn't smell anything like Aventus. It has the notes of Aventus, but the blend is just way off. And it's very cat pissy and very cumin and root beer. Next up is Club de Nuit Intense Man 2, which is the newer formulation. And I found that to be stronger than Aventus also, as far as the performance. It's a stronger performer. It's less cat pissy and smoother than the Club de Nuit Intense Man 1. So I really like that one. A lot of people say that the first version of Club de Nuit Intense Male is better than the newer formulation, but to my nose, the newer formulation actually smells better. It smells smoother, and the performance is still great. It's better than the actual Aventus performance. The Perfumer's Choice Victor number 9 is the fruitiest and my favorite of all these clones, and actually it's better. I think it's better than the real Aventus in a sense where It's fruitier, it's got more pineapple, and it's less cat pissy. Al-Haramain L'Aventure is actually a very good cologne. It's very similar to Aventus. It actually performs a little better than the batch of Aventus that I have here. And I would say it's a very good close clone to the actual Aventus. It's like splitting hairs. All of these except the Avalom could easily pass as Aventus. And to kind of distinguish between them is like splitting hairs, considering Aventus in all it has so many batch variations anyway, so it's kind of like they all smell like Aventus. Aside from the Avalom, which is blended poorly, it still has all the notes of Aventus, but it's a bad blend if you ask me. It smells more cloying than Aventus. So get that out of the way. They all pretty much will smell like Aventus. And there's one more thing I want to go over with you guys regarding the price of Aventus. Is it worth it or is it not worth it in 2019 to buy Aventus? Because there's so many good clones and it's not a special scent anymore. There's so many people wearing clones that smell a lot like Aventus. I just want to go over some numbers with you really quick. My camera's about to die, so I want to do this really quickly. Now, suppose you used Aventus for the last 10 years and you're a daily sprayer versus using a clone of Aventus. The price of Aventus, if you're using it daily, you're probably going through a bottle every 3 months. So your yearly expense for Aventus is $1,600. If you were to use a clone, it would only be $80. So that's a difference of $1,520 a year. So if you take that $1,520 a year and you invest it into a Roth IRA or something like that where you're getting a 12% return for 10 years and you put in $1,520 every year for the past 10 years, that comes out to $36,083. Wearing the niche Aventus versus wearing a $20 clone like the Victor's number 9, like Perfumer's Choice Victor number 9, you are actually saving $36,083, and the smell would not even be much different. Based on what I just did right here, I'm telling you right now, the only one that doesn't smell like Aventus, it would be the Avalom, because the blend is wrong. $1,600 versus $80 a year for the clone. That's $1,520, and if you invest that every year, just add $1,520 into the account of your IRA at a 12% annual return, which is very realistic, that's $36,083. You tell me, is it worth it? I mean, maybe to some of you, $36,083 is nothing. You know, to me, it's a brand new car. It's a down payment on a home. It's a lot of things. You could do a lot for $36,083. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is Aventus worth it? Absolutely not. I would never recommend anybody to buy a $400 cologne. If you do, you're ridiculous, unless you've got money to throw away. That's all I got. Thanks for watching, and I will smell you later.